This is a game changer. It will change cameras for everywhere.
I didn't think they could do better than A1, and they did. All right, if you are a nature and wildlife photographer like us, you may have been thrown a curveball recently by Sony.
Sony, throwing you a curveball?
Darn it.
Oh.
We reviewed the Sony A7R V a few months ago. Absolutely loved it. It came out a year ago.
Yeah, beautiful camera.
Oh, if we were ready to upgrade, we might have done it. And then they just had to go and release the A9 III.
Yes.
So if you are just starting out in wildlife and nature photography, or you want to upgrade your equipment and you can't decide between the A7R V and the A9 III, hopefully some of these specs and our input will help you out. Now, caveat, we haven't had our hands on the A9 III.
Not yet.
No, it's new. The A7R V, we rented for a couple weeks, loved it. What we do have is the Sony A1, the Sony A9 II, and the Sony A7R IV. Love these. Variety of lenses, have been using these for a super long time.
Yes.
However, if we had a budget, what would we go with? And we're not going to tell you until the very end, but let's go through the differences and the things we like and don't like so far between those two cameras. Because honestly, when I first started putting this video together, I thought they would be kind of a lot closer from the price. Like the price, there is a price difference.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Big price difference.
There is a big price difference, right? So one of the cameras you're gonna spend $2,000 more for in today's rate, which is, winter of 2023, November, December, is it gonna be worth the price difference? So the price difference is the A7R, we're just gonna tell you right away.
Yeah.
The A7R V is $4,000 US, and the Sony A9 II is now listed at $6,000 US. So there's a big price difference for that upgrade. But what should you consider when you're looking at this? And they're only a year apart. So Steve, really you have to think about what's right for you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. For us, it's a lot of wildlife, a lot of birds, and nature and landscape.
And think about how you actually shoot.
Yeah.
Because some of these new specs on the A9 III, they sound really nice. They're fantastic, actually. But are you going to use them?
Are you really going to? Yeah. And so that's one of the things that Steve had written. Will you actually need it? And what would you lose? So it's very tempting to just get the newest of the newest. But after looking at this list, maybe this will help clear it up. Maybe it'll add more confusion. I'm not sure. Let's go. What I want to do is go through side by side.
Okay.
We got this off I think it was the Sony Alpha Shooters or something like that, one of the websites. So again, there's a lot of similarities. So I'm not going to go over a lot of the similarities unless it really stands out. But between the two, I would say the biggest problem for wildlife and nature photographers is the megapixels.
Yep. It's only got 24.6 megapixels.
On the 3.
On the 3.
The 5 has 61.
Yeah.
And I understand that megapixels aren't everything. I get that. But when you're looking at the way we shoot, oh no, he loves the 61. When you're thinking about the way we photograph, unless you can fill the frame, or maybe you're not enlarging these, maybe they're only going to be Insta. So maybe that's not a consideration for you. But oftentimes, even with the 200 to 600 lens, we have to crop in. Birds never get this close to us, Wildlife doesn't get this close. So we often have to crop in. So I think that's a huge consideration to think of. The Sony A9 III has been rumored to be made for the Olympics, for sports shooters, for people who photograph people who are moving quickly or cars that are moving, like things that you could control or get closer to you and you can get closer to them. Not so much wildlife, but it could work for you. So let's go through some more. To me, that's a big problem. Steve doesn't like this on the A9 III. The
A9 III has a low pass filter. And I really just don't like any filters getting in front of my sensor. Period.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Now, you shooting portraits and indoor things, people, or maybe some other special conditions, it might be important to you. But No, thank you.
As a landscape photographer especially, right? Okay. All right. So there's a lot of new things. Oh, the sensor type, all of the drama is around the global shutter. These geese are really getting in on this. I don't know if you can hear them, but a whole bunch of geese are behind us.
Yeah.
The global shutter sounds very innovative and very amazing.
Oh, it is amazing. It's yeah.
Yeah. And so the global shutter will help with any kind of distortion. And usually what they say is, as an example, is someone that is golfing, and sometimes that golf club looks very distorted and bent. Birds' wings can sometimes do that, but you won't get that at all with the A9 III.
No.
Yeah. Look up global shutter. It's very fascinating.
Oh yeah, yeah. Any distortions due to the speed of your objects, your subjects, is gone. Basically, what it is the global shutter. Sensors up till now, when you hit your shutter release, it would sample the information from the sensor line by line. And so where you'd get the distortion is when you get some little motion between one line being sampled and the next line being sampled. Global shutter, all of the pixels at once. It's straight back into it. So there is no interval between one pixel being sampled and the other. It's all at once.
Yeah. Again, we're not going to go over every single line, but the ones that are big differences. The ISO is shocking to me. I really thought the A9 III with the fewer pixels would have better low light capabilities like our A9 II does. According to the specs, it doesn't. That's throwing me off. So the A7R V has a higher ISO range from 100 to 3200, but if you expand it, it's 50 to 102,400. I don't know anyone who's going to use that setting. But that said, the A9 III doesn't even go down to 100 at all. The main is 250 to 25,600, and then it's 125 to 51,000. So
yeah, the extended range only goes down to 125 ISO. So you photographers who insist on shooting at 100 ISO,
you can't.
Sorry.
You simply can't do it.
Camera's not for you.
With the A9 III.
I think it is the processing power needed to process.
Okay.
So much from a sensor all at once.
Okay. So that was kind of surprising. I think the A7R V, according to the specs, outshines that. Pre-capture. On this, I think of as iPhones, or when you're doing a live picture on your cell phone and it gets that little tiny bit of a moment ahead of time. Somehow the A9 III is able to, it's all magical to me for that realm, but A9 III can do that. So again, if you're really going to push it, you're going to see the shutter speed on in a second, and the FPS, like, it's crazy on the A9 III. So pre-capture is something you think you'd play with, maybe. Kind of get the moment before the moment. And they have, the A9 III has this thing that the A5 doesn't. It's continuous shooting speed boost. So you could be shooting at so many frames per second and push a button and get even more. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that takes you right up to the maximum frame rate.
Yeah, which we're going to talk about in a second. They did add a couple more focus sizes in the A9 III, which we were super impressed with the A7R V. Don't get me wrong. Oh my gosh, the focusing capabilities on the 5 are incredible. Yeah. I didn't think they could do better than A1, and they did. But you now have an extra large and extra small focus point available on the A9 III. Yeah, so that's pretty nice if you want something, that's not just the regular. Here's the crazy part. Fastest shutter speed. Now, Sony A9 III has no mechanical shutter.
None.
Surprise. It's gone. It has the global shutter, remember? So the A7R V is 1/8000th of a second. That's been what we've kind of come to expect out of a lot of these mirrorless.
Yeah. If I find myself shooting at 1/8000th of a second, I need to look at my settings again. It's way too fast.
Okay, but the A9 III, what does it have?
1/80,000th of a second.
1/80,000th of a second. That's like, are you gonna, maybe for the space shuttle launch?
This beats out
that's incredible.
any consumer video camera.
Yeah, like maybe if you're doing, say, a diving kingfisher or hummingbird or, You know, that'd be amazing. I've yet to see what all the practical, like envision all the practical uses for that.
Get that kingfisher and you want to get it just when it enters the water. It would be a lot easier with the A9 III.
Oh my gosh. Well, and also because of this continuous shooting electronic shutter, A7R V, it's fine. It's 8 frames per second. I know the A1 has up to 30. The Sony A9 III in stills is 120 frames per second in stills, which is probably why they have to restrict it to 24 megapixels.
Need, terabyte cards for memory now.
That's like, wait, what? Wait, what? Go online and watch some of these videos where they're able to do that. And that is slow motion video. That is in full res stills.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That's crazy. That's amazing. That's amazing. And then there's a lot of other stuff that they don't really differ on, or we don't know yet. Let's see. Autofocus points, I believe that they cover a little bit more of the sensor on the A9 III, yeah. So for still images, there's 759 points. Still phase detection. A9 III, yeah. And on the 5, it's 693. So it's a few more. It goes a little bit further, which is pretty nice. I've had cameras in the past, before mirrorless, that could go further. So, so that's nice to know. Oh, okay. This probably does not apply to wildlife and nature photographers. But the flash sync speed for my portrait work, what? I was so disappointed when the A1 came out and it did not have a high sync speed. My A7 III did. What? But it 1/80,000th of a second. That high shutter speed is sync compatible for your flashes. Maybe a lot of you it doesn't apply to, but if you do any kind of flash work.
Jeez, and that's for Sony flashes only.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think about how fast you could read. Yeah.
Okay, good point. That the highest range is with the Sony flashes.
Yeah.
I would venture to guess you can do high speed sync up to a certain amount on any kind of flash, right?
Yep.
So 1/2000th of a second or something. So when you're in that bright sun and you still want to fill flash and have depth of field, what? For portrait, except for that 24 pixels.
Recharges fast also.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Interval shooting. The Sony A7R V does have that, but the Sony A9 III built-in time-lapse. That's a whole other thing. That takes those intervals and puts them in a video just like my GoPro does. What a pain. I'm just going to say a pain in the beep to build those time lapses from all these stills. You have to do all this other stuff built in on the A9 III. Thanks. Creative looks, bunch of other stuff is the same. There are a few video settings I just want to talk about briefly, even though we're not going to really get into it that deep here. I haven't researched enough, and I don't think you care enough about the video settings, but I do want to talk about it because there is a 4K 120 no cropping. So you can get full resolution slow-mo video in the A9 III. Now you can still get 60 frames per second, or 60p at 4K, but a 1.24 crop in the A7R V. So you're going to lose a little bit of quality there. So that video spec, if you need that slow-mo.
Full frame slow-mo?
Yeah. If you are really out there photographing birds, but you want to add in video of birds, that would be stunning. Really, really pretty. So keep that in mind with the video specs if that's something you're interested in. This is only something I've seen on particular cameras, but on the video, there's AI auto framing. Now, I didn't look into this enough again to know if this is just, it doesn't say it's, but it's cropped in. So if it's following you, did it crop in just to kind of follow you across the frame? Is it just stuff that I would rather do in post? I don't know, but they do have this thing called AI auto framing. And then we noted also the in-camera time-lapse creation. All right, so moving on. It has the same kind of flippy, tilty, everything screen. They both have the same one, which we like. Have as an EVF. I believe the EVF is better in the Sony A9 III. The viewfinder frame rate. In the EVF, you can see the, golly, 240 frames per second. Okay. You can do voice memos on the A9 III. You can do it on yours too.
Yep.
Never use it. I don't know why they bother. I don't know. Do you ever use the voice memo on your camera? No. For those sports shooters, again, there's a LAN, a 10 base T.
Ethernet, yeah.
Yeah, built into the A9 III.
Actually, there's 1,000 base T, which
Well,
is
this has 100. Oh, 1,000 right here?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that line.
so
Oh my
I
gosh.
can plug this in
10,
my
100.
network at home.
Yeah, 10, 100 or 1,000 base T landline port in the A9 III. Again, I think they're thinking of the Olympics, right? You're plugged into the net. You're going to upload those almost immediately, right? Okay. Okay. Battery life is the same. Battery is the same. The A9 III is 100 grams-ish lighter, a little less than that. So it is a little bit lighter. We like that. I know this is rapid fire, but I really want to give you kind of just the highlights real quick of the things that we saw that we liked and didn't like between the two of them. So we love everything on the A7R V.
Pretty much, yeah.
We love it on both of them, okay? But when we're comparing, if we only could buy one, right? Mm-hmm. Which obviously we always recommend renting these cameras before you buy them.
Yep.
The A7R V, it's got the 61 pixels. And I feel like where we're at as wildlife photographers, we still need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have bird blinds. I don't have a way to get closer to some of these animals.
Yep.
Yeah, for you, the A7R V.
Oh yeah,
Say that.
I'm not going back to fewer than 61 megapixels.
Well, no, this one, the second one.
Oh, again, no low pass filter.
On the R5.
Again, I just don't like filters in front of my sensor.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah.
I want total control over everything.
And the ISO range.
ISO range
The A7R V is a better ISO range.
has a
Surprisingly.
broader ISO range.
Definitely.
Given the quality of current sensors, I'm not sure that it matters on the low end all that much.
Okay.
The low ISO is 250
Yeah. On the 3. Yeah.
on the 3, and I find myself shooting a little bit above that all the time.
Yeah.
So there's that. On the high end, yeah, how dark do you want to get it?
Well, that's true.
I never, actually, I have exceeded 3,200.
Okay.
Once in a while, I'll find myself at 6,400.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know if it's just habit, but if it gets that dark,
I mean,
I'm not shooting. I can't
Yeah.
even see the focus.
even with denoise programs now. That said, though, like we wanted to say, here's the highlights that we find on the A9 III, looking through the specs and other people's videos and just kind of considering it for wildlife, nature, landscape photography like us. We wanted to know what are the perks that are worth the $2,000 difference, and I want to know what you think too. So the A9 III introduced the global shutter, the speed boost, higher shutter speed and higher sync speed, that pre-capture, that's interesting. The extra large and extra small focus points, the 120 frames per second stills and video, more focus points, covers more of the sensor, AI auto frame in the video, in-camera time lapse, there's 10. The EVF, I wrote it here, has 240 frames per second in the EVF. The LAN terminal, the Ethernet, and it's 100 grams lighter. So there's 13 things the A9 III introduced that the A7R V doesn't have.
Yep.
Is it worth $2,000 difference to get your hands on the brand new A9 III when it's available? I'm assuming it's not even available to buy yet.
There are people who have it on YouTube now, but yeah.
Sure. Okay. Not us. We're not that high caliber.
No.
So with that being said, what's our take? What do you think, Steve, with what you photograph all the time?
Oh, the electronic geek in me says is just drooling to get the A9 II.
The A9 III.
But A9 III.
Yeah.
But as far as what I shoot and the way I shoot, the deal killer for me is 61 megapixels.
Yeah.
I need that. All the other stuff is kind of fun to play with. So yeah, it's not worth the $2,000. difference.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, by the
Yes.
time I get ready to actually upgrade my R4 here, the R6, 7, or 8, or whatever it is when I upgrade, will probably be a global shutter.
Oh, true. So we can have that.
If this works out well for Sony, this is a game changer. It will change cameras for everywhere.
Yeah. That's a good point, because you're not always the person to get in on new tech. So global shutter, this is ground floor version 1. They will improve on
this
it.
is like mirrorless.
When it first came out.
Early
yeah.
mirrorless, yeah. If it works, there's a lot of stuff that can be done with it that
Yeah.
is just mind-blowing.
Yeah. They've really just shattered expectations, I think, with the A9 III.
Yep.
But for you, it's not worth the extra. If you were buying
At
either
this
one of
point,
these, you'd still go with the A7R
Yeah.
V. Yeah. The A7R V really is for wildlife, I think.
Yes, it
It's
is.
really
It is,
well spec'd out for that.
Yes.
Where the A9 III is for human sports.
High speed shooting,
Yeah.
wherever you're doing that.
Yeah.
Sports,
Race cars.
race cars.
I don't know.
There, there's a few limited applications in wildlife, I think.
Yeah.
Landscape, I'd have to think about that for a long
That's a low
time.
pass. Well, and here's the thing. How many of us are wildlife photographers, and how many of us photograph race cars? There's a lot more of us doing wildlife, I would venture to guess. So some of this will be built into the next wildlife type body.
If this is successful, all new cameras will have it.
Okay, so what about me? What would I do?
Okay.
What would I do? I love my A1. Okay, it has 50 pixels. It's perfect for pickles. The 24, again, I'm just, even in my portrait work, I do crop in. I try to get it all exactly right in camera, but I do a lot of people and pets, and if that dog is across the field and a little bit, and we want a closer up, I'm gonna have to crop it down to a quarter of that frame. And it's still great with 50 pixels. Here's the one thing.
High-speed sync.
The high-speed sync on the flash. I really, really wish my A1 had that. Really wish it had that. The extra large and the extra small focus points would be nice too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the 120 FPS. I don't really care. I already take too many pictures that are filling up my hard drive. I don't need a LAN terminal. I don't care about low pass filter myself. I don't do enough landscape. Ooh, the sun's setting. Pretty. AI auto frame. Yeah, I like the idea of the in-camera time lapse, but I don't shoot enough time lapses to warrant a $2,000 difference.
$6,000 for a camera to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like I can do it on my GoPro. No, I know GoPro's not as good. I get that. At this point, I don't think I'd choose either one. Maybe that's my answer. Because what I really want is just to cherry pick the A9 III. I want that high speed sync, the global shutter. I want to play with that, and maybe more of the 120 frames per second. The A7R V, I want to cherry pick out all of the focus settings, a massive amount of amazing focus settings for everything that I photograph.
Yep.
Pets, people, animals, all the different wildlife. So if I could cherry pick all that and just shove those 3 things into my A1, I'd be happy. So who knows? In a year, maybe I'll have the A2. But I don't think I'd choose either one at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. If I were to choose, I would just, obviously at this point, we're just sticking with what we have.
Yeah.
But we thought if we were to start out and it was between those 2 cameras, like you're probably thinking right now, what will we do?
Yeah. And in 2 or 3 years, it'll be time to upgrade, and it's going to be some phenomenal cameras out there. Some phenomenal cameras.
Yeah.
For a whole lot lower price.
So let us know.
Yep.
For $2,000 difference.
What do you think?
Yeah. Or if you were just to choose between those 2, the A7R V and the A9 III, what would you choose based on these specs? No hands-on, just like us.
Yep. So.
Okay. I hope that was helpful. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Comments down below.
Comment, please. Join our coffee club. There's a button there for that too.
Yep.
You'll get some behind the scenes, and I'm Holden.
Hit the thumbs up.
Hit the thumbs up.
Do you not subscribe? Subscribe.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Okay, well, the sun went down.
Yep.
So,
Time to go in.
yeah. See you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah.